Well, just got the Cadillac washed, got some food plot seed, and we're actually going to take the first gen here today. When I say today, I mean this evening. It's already pretty late in the afternoon, honestly. Oh, don't worry, I'll show you the exhaust. Cold start. What sounds better, a straight pipe 12 valve or 24 valve? Let me know down in the comments. Welcome back to the channel. We're actually headed out to my dad's property right now to plant a food plot at his property. Hopefully the tractor's there actually, because I didn't ask him, and he's been taking it back and forth between, you know, his property and his house. So that's actually now that I think about it, I don't even know if it's at his property. So I took the first gen back here, a little bit muddier than I thought it was going to be. Snow melted off a couple days ago for the most part. There's a little bit hanging around here and there still, but most of the snow melted off a few days ago, in which you would expect it to be muddy, but then all the puddles disappeared yesterday. So, you know, by the end of today, which it's evening now, sun's going down, I thought, you know, everything should be pretty well dried out. You know, I haven't seen any visible water in 2 days on the ground, you know, whatever. Nothing too terrible, just spun just enough to flick a little mud on the truck. But anyway, so here's a clover plot that we did last year. I think I actually made a video of this somewhere on my outdoors channel or on my truck page, I'm not sure. But you can see the deer are actually running through here. They're tearing it up pretty good. It's already starting to green up just a little bit with a couple of warm days that we've had. I mean, there's a ton of clover in here shooting up already. It's doing really good. So what I think I'm gonna do is transition this food back over here that is currently a brassica plot and turn that into just being clover. I was gonna till it in, but I think what I'm actually gonna decide to do is just use this time of year to my advantage, and there's no weeds in it. And this is another method of frost seeding that you can do. And it's essentially where you don't rip the ground all up. You actually just seed right over top of where you're gonna plant it. And in this situation, it'll work out pretty darn well. So you can see this whole area, it's pretty eaten up, and there's not a lot left. And what's left is a lot of just the smaller brassica plants. But if you look though, there's really not a bunch of weeds. It's pretty much just brassica that was all eaten up. You can see here there's quite a bit. Brassica, radish, you know, you can see some of these little guys in here. Some of these didn't mature up very well. Some of these are still real small. It was probably overplanted, honestly. I was having some cedar issues. I remember when I was planting this last year, you can see they've eaten off the greens on a lot of these. A lot of them are missing some leaves on them. So what we're gonna actually do is, this isn't gonna green back up. This is just gonna kind of deteriorate and break down into the ground. And so what I'm actually gonna do is just seed over top of this. And it's getting to be high 40s, mid 50s in the day, and it's still getting to be about 28 to 30-ish in the evenings pretty consistently. This next 2 weeks it looks like it's going to be. So what I'm going to do is just seed over top of this, and all of that freezing and thawing and freezing and thawing is basically going to help these seeds germinate very quickly, and it's going to green this all up and turn it into a nice plot for the deer. Ordinarily I would plant this with brassica, purple top turnip, radish type deal, but for this year we're going to have more corn and beans planted out in some bigger areas. Therefore, I'm not going to be planting purple top turnip, brassica, radish type stuff back here. I'm going to be mostly focusing on the stuff that's back up along the timber, planting that in like clover and more green stuff, and try to get this to where it'll green up and give the fawns and the does plenty, and the bucks in the early spring here coming up here, because that's the phase that we're in. Give them some more to hit throughout the next couple of years here, or as long as this, you know, successfully stays clover, it doesn't get overrun with weeds. 30% of it, of our food plots in clover, and then the rest of it is going to be corn and beans, and that we just leave standing for the deer. Let's get to seeding this real quick, and then that'll be it for this plot. that was fun. Planted 2 plots frost seeding like that. Now we're off to wash this truck down, and then tomorrow morning we're gonna catch you guys right back here to possibly purchase a new truck. I think you guys are gonna really like this thing. That's what I'm talking about right there.
I can't even see.
You can't see anything? Do I look good? Do I look classy?
It's a little better.
A little better? How about now? Is the hat backwards a good look?
Sure.
Sure? That's what's up, man.
You're cringy.
That's the whole point of it. The whole point of it is to be cringy. We're on the road right now. We are en route to pay for a second gen.
Not flexing at all.
No, because I want them to understand how much it costs to buy a clean second gen. You know how many people make comments like, oh, so we're just giving away our used junk sitting around the yard now. Oh, just old 20-some-year-old trucks, piece of junk, you know, whatever. Not everybody says that, but there's a lot of people that think that second gen Dodges and first gens that are in like really good condition are just like cheap junk and you can pick up on every corner. There are rusty, beat up ones that you can pick up on any quarter for cheap. The ones that we're looking at are usually nice and they're usually not cheap at all.
They're usually nice.
They're usually nice. Which ones have been bad?
No, it's just funny because you said it.
Oh yeah, they're usually really nice. They don't really like need anything, but sometimes there's trucks that we buy that like, oh, the hood's out of alignment and needs a new hood, or like the silver one had a body lift. Like there's some things that are like, okay, not really a fan of that, but there's not really any other options unless I'm driving 4 or 5 hours for it, and I'd rather just not drive 4 or 5 hours, and I'd rather just buy the one with the body lift and have somebody take it off.
Why is there so many semis? Goodness gracious.
Randall, there is a cow outside.
Because it's the highway, babe. Semis love the highway.
There's a cow farm. You're gonna find cows outside.
We're gonna go check out this truck. It's actually a pretty unique setup. I'll go over it, obviously, if we buy it. I'll tell you about it. If I don't buy it, I'll still tell you about it. I just won't have the actual truck. But yeah, I really like it. I think you guys will love it too. It's gonna remind you a lot of a truck that we had a while ago that we ended up giving away. And it was one of my favorite trucks that I ever owned. We're not buying back that exact truck, but we're buying back one very similar to it, but even nicer. After searching for a couple of weeks, we finally found a 12 valve with a 5-speed. It's a second gen and it's a dually. I'll show you the things that I like about it. I'll show you the things we're gonna fix on it. Here it is. Here it is. It is a 1997 12 valve Cummins with a 5-speed. It's 4-wheel drive. Of course, we only give away 4-wheel drives. And there's a little bit of a twist to it. Everybody's gonna be making the guesses down in the comments, you know, like what happened, like how is it a 97, but it's got a sport front end, it's got folding cap doors, all that stuff. Well, it's a 97 3500 with the cab of a second gen 24 valve on it. And the reason they did that is that they had the rear folding doors. The guy was telling me how super annoying not having rear folding doors. So they actually had the cab, that was the cab of an 01, put on the truck, and then they just basically used the same dash that they had in it already, and they kept the dash and gauge cluster and all that stuff that was in the other truck, and they basically just bought the shell of the cab from that 01 and dropped it on this truck. That way they could have the folding rear doors. But it's got the sport front end as well, sport grille, sport bumper. Sport grille we're actually going to be changing out. A couple of the plastic clips on the back of it broke. The hardware's still there, but a couple of the plastic tabs broke on it. It's got some Mickey Thompson tires on it. I don't know NOI or ION alloy. Wheels on it. truck is super, super clean underneath. I mean, very, very, very clean. I was crawling around underneath of here, checking everything out, and it really is super clean. I mean, you can see how clean it is. New carrier bearing in the rear end. But yeah, super duper clean. And now we're gonna go over some of the cons. The interior is really, really nice. Interior's in very, very good shape. Show you that back seat there. It's in really good shape. This is something I've been looking for a while. Now, of course, let's go through the list of things that I'm gonna point out that I'm already gonna get questions about, which I'm gonna just address those real quick. I think it's very, very clean, but I personally think the truck could use a paint job. So we're probably gonna have that done. There's nothing extreme, but the paint chips are horrible on this dually fender. You can see all the chips all the way up and down that. It's pretty bad. You know, we might be able to get away with just painting the dually fenders because the dually fenders are the only thing that's really bad. But there is some paint chipping along all the bottom of the doors as well, because of course that front dually tire, they have it switched over to a super single and it sticks out there quite a bit. But the lower door panels, the rockers, and the dually fenders pretty chipped up. Overall though, the paint's not in bad shape at all. I think he said it was done 5 or 6 years ago. It's kind of a cool color. It's kind of like a, at a glance, you kind of think it's like a plum color, but then you're like, it's charcoal. It's kind of strange, but I dig it. I like it. It's different. Windshield does have a crack in it. You can kind of see its little hairline crack kind of goes along through there. So we're gonna have Safelite replace the windshield on it. Other than that, I mean, it's a really solid truck. Believe it or not, these are super freaking hard to find with a manual in them anymore. They're out there. They're just really hard to come by. It's got a manual and it's got a South Bend single disc clutch, but apparently it's, I don't know if there's a lot of variations, but he said it's a super beefy South Bend single disc, and it's got a bigger or upgraded flywheel on it as well. But other than that, the only power increase that they've done to the truck is messing with the P pump that's on the truck with the AFC housing adjustments and stuff like that. Other than that though, it doesn't have like big injectors, it doesn't have a big turbo setup or compounds or anything on it yet, but we might be doing that. But it's just pretty much been used as a work truck. They use it to pull around equipment for an asphalt company. So it does have some small, you know, chips and scratches and stuff, which is why I'd like to get the truck repainted. But in terms of the overall shell of the truck, it's very clean. And underneath is super clean. The truck is also already leveled out, which is a plus because we were probably going to do that anyways. And I'll talk to you guys about the wheel and tire setup that I'm thinking about going with. And there's a few different options I was going to give you guys in terms of what you guys want to see on this. I mean, I don't think it looked bad, but I was thinking about going with some fuel dually wheels and putting a super single on the front as well if we went with that. Kind of like the white 24 valve that we did a long time ago, and then doing like 33 by 1250s on it. And the reason I'd only do that is because it's leveled. I don't want to tear up the fenders and crap with rubbing. It's not functional, not really a fan of it. Or what we could do is keep the wheels that are on it because they're really not bad. It pokes out a little bit in the front, but not too much to be obnoxious. And then what we could do is put one of our 8-on-6.5 hub-centric spacers that we can order, put it between the rear set, that way the tires aren't rubbing under a load, and stance it out about 2 inches so that it pokes out about the same as the front. And we could put some like Toyo MTs or Nitto MTs on the 18-inch wheels that are already on the truck. That's also an option. And the plan for this truck is to do compound turbos. I'm super excited about it. We haven't done compounds in a long time. The last truck that we did compounds on was actually our little play truck that we bought, and it was that like million-mile first-gen two-wheel drive. It was a blast, but I want to do like a nice compound turbo setup on this truck. There's literally a burnt $5 bill. I don't know why I just saw this, but looks like somebody dropped some of the cash that we do, and I know exactly what that's from. We do cash and orders sometimes, and once in a while somebody bumps money off the counter into the trash can. Definition of burning money. So there's a couple things that we're gonna try to do to the truck. compounds, either change out the wheels and tires or just the tires. What do you guys think about that? I honestly like the wheels that are on it. If they had a big beefy mud tire on it, that's just my preference. And I'd like to do the paint on the truck so we can get that all addressed and looking perfect again. That's the way I want it. And then doing some clear bra on the whole lower half of the truck to try to keep from the paint chips being so bad, because I don't want to have to, you know, paint the truck and then, you know, it gets all chipped up again right away. I'll show you under the truck on this side as well. I mean, very clean. As you can see, it's very, very clean. For coming out of Ohio, I was pretty impressed. And what you guys have to understand, I try to find these trucks in the best condition I can find them in without having to drive halfway across the country to buy it. This truck was an hour and 30 minutes away, and this was the cleanest and nicest condition second gen 12 valve with a 5-speed that I could find, and a dually that I could find. And it was literally for sale for 2 hours, and I messaged the guy. Somebody's probably gonna comment and say, I was gonna buy that truck. He said he had messages piling in as soon as he listed this thing for sale. So here we are, but I'm super excited about this. I mean, compounds, new fresh coat of paint, big beefy mud tires. Now we're also gonna be doing some other stuff under the hood to support the compound system to get more power out of it, but you get the idea. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Now I'm sure you guys want to hear this thing start up, so let's get to it. And oh yeah, I was thinking about doing leather interior in the entire truck, just because it would be classy, and you don't see that on a lot of second gens. Now I'm just gonna leave this like this because I don't have any other way of filming this, but AC works awesome too. They said that they had the heat in the AC all charged, and it's sweet. It works great. Fires right up though, runs really good. That is the introduction of this truck to this channel. There's a lot of stuff that we're gonna do to this. We're gonna keep it classy. We're gonna keep it cool. We're not gonna do anything crazy with this one in terms of like suspension. We're not gonna like throw it on a huge lip and monstrous, crazy, stupid wide wheels and tires. I love that stuff on certain trucks, but on this particular one, I think I just wanna keep it, I want to keep it cool, but I want to keep it very functional as well. So I want this truck, since it is a dually, it is a manual, I want this truck to be geared as a work truck build. So this one's that's why we're going with the compounds. That's why we're gonna keep it leveled out and not like crazy suspension. Just so keep that in mind. Any advice or any tips or suggestions for this truck are greatly appreciated. If you could leave those in the comment section below, we're gonna get on this thing right away and get this thing going. But keep in mind, you've got, I think, 3 days left to get 10 times entries towards winning this 1992 12 valve Cummins with 86,000 miles on it. Yeah, 86,000 miles. If you want to enter to win this truck, you could buy a hat like this, a hoodie like this. I would show you my t-shirt, but that'd be too much work right now. Just go to lmpgear.com, buy anything off our store, and every $1 gets you 10 entries towards winning this truck plus $5,000 cash. And this giveaway is ending soon, but 10x entries are done for good. They end on March 7th. 10x entries end on March 7th in a couple days. So if you want to get entered, you want to get 10x entries, almost out of time. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for all the love, the support, the orders. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Peace.